Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut. I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. Part 2. Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? The message went, after our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I cannot allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the videos and photos of this day, and as we reflect on the day in the future, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be bridesmaids in 2019, I've been very clear in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding. Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? She said that while she sympathizes with my health concerns, she's not willing to compromise her vision. Then she asked me to please step down from participating in her wedding. This was 3 days before her wedding, and I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the shoes and dresses. Keep in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, so I decided to take it to court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I spent hours helping her out with the wedding details, and when she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym. Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My stepson Aaron, 17, has always been a jokester. First, his jokes were funny, but then he started using other identities to start drama in family and friends. For example, he once texted his cousin's phone with a flirty text, and his cousin's girlfriend saw it and it got messy. He also texted his uncle pretending to be his son's friend and lied about his son being in an accident. It was awful. I tried doing something about it, but everyone would say he's adapting, it's normal teenage behavior, and that he'll grow out of it. Even blamed his dad, saying that he is a jokester himself, so it's a trait in his DNA. I tried to get an explanation out of him, and he'd say stuff like, dude, like, it's kind of fun. Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My final straw was days ago when I was at work and received a text via my pregnant wife's phone, telling me her water broke and told me to meet her at the hospital. I drove for 1.5 hours and called my family and we went there. We were shocked to know my wife never came to the hospital. When I got home, I found out my wife was actually napping like she usually does, and Aaron came downstairs laughing at my face and in my in-laws' faces. I yelled at him when he said he got me fooled by taking my wife's phone and texting me about her going into labor. He said, OMFG, did you literally drive to the freaking hospital? Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My wife said nothing and I decided I had it. I said I was sick of his games and he has 2 options, therapy to fix his issues or no longer living in my house. He complained about it being his dad's idea, but it was obvious blame shifting. He started calling me names. My wife tried to calm me down, but my blood pressure was up and I was shaking. I have chronic disease. My in-laws said I was too harsh and went too far with my ultimatum. I declined to back down because I think I won't be able to take it anymore. I apparently made them more upset than what Aaron did and said I have to forgive him and drop it, but I couldn't. Aaron is 100% against therapy and has a bad idea of it. Am I the asshole for confiscating my daughter's glasses as a punishment? A few weeks ago, my daughter Maddie, 15, and her friends stole a girl's asthma inhaler and destroyed it. The girl ended up becoming ill, but fortunately the school had a spare one. Because the incident was so serious and also because Maddie and her friends had been tormenting the girl for a while, it resulted in Maddie being expelled from school. The other girl's parents almost involved the police, but thankfully decided against it. When I got Maddie home from school after what happened, I gave her a long lecture and she didn't regret what happened at all and thought it was just messing around. She thought it was stupid that she got expelled. When she came down for breakfast the next day, I decided on a punishment. I took her glasses off her face and went into her room and confiscated her spare pairs. Am I the asshole for confiscating my daughter's glasses as a punishment? Maddie isn't blind without her glasses, but it's quite inconvenient for her. If she wants to look at her phone, for example, she'd need to have it very close to her face. Maddie was very frustrated that day, and I thought she'd learn how the other girl felt when her inhaler was gone. I gave the glasses back at the end of the day and everything seemed okay. A few weeks later, Maddie went to spend a weekend with her father, my ex. He called me raging at what I did to my daughter. He said he wants Maddie to come and live with him. The punishment was nothing compared to what Maddie did. Am I the asshole for not paying to eat out when my girlfriend initially offered to celebrate my promotion? I, 27 male, had been with my girlfriend, 24 female, for around 4 months. I earn considerably more than her, and she has previously been open in saying her wages do not cover her bills or monthly outings. I've preferred to keep my finances private to this point. I've recently got a promotion and she wanted to celebrate and take me out for a meal. On the day, however, she said she could not afford this, so I suggested I would get takeout and come to her place instead. She immediately said she was upset as I earn over double what she does and felt I should be more forthcoming and want to pay at this stage in the relationship. I highlighted that I had more outgoings than usual this month. Am I the asshole for not paying to eat out when my girlfriend initially offered to celebrate my promotion? I let her know that I couldn't afford it this month either. Her perspective is that I know her wages aren't sufficient to pay her bills, yet I still allow her to pay for things. We've been equal in the relationship so far, paying for activities and meals out. She felt I should be paying for it because my base wage is significantly higher. She kept saying she didn't expect me to pay for everything, yet she was coming across this way and said it was the gentleman thing to do. My perspective is that I don't have much disposable income either, but would have paid for more if I could. I felt upset that she found out my income. I feel that she came across as entitled. Ultimately, it's my money and I decide how I spend it. I bit my tongue but have worries for the future. Am I the asshole for telling a woman at the gym that she isn't attractive? I've recently started going back to the gym because I'm trying to lose the weight that I gained during quarantine. My partner never stopped working out. She adjusted and made time at home. I can't do that. Home is for all the stuff I love to do. I work out to stay healthy, but if I'm honest, I don't really like doing it. I generally do cardio for the first 40 minutes and I'm there cycling. I put my headphones in and zone out and I don't really look at anything. Apparently this morning, a woman thought I was staring at her. I'm gonna be honest and say that I'm not even sure if I was looking at her. I'm pedaling away on an alpine pass in my mind and jamming out to some 90s alternative. The first time I noticed her was when she pushed my shoulder to get my attention. I then pulled my earpiece out. Am I the asshole for telling a woman at the gym that she isn't attractive? I asked if she needed something. She proceeded to loudly shame me for staring at her while she was working out. I explained that I was zoned out and not really looking at anything. I was 26 minutes in at this point and sweating from my ride. I tried to defuse it. I tried to explain that I really wasn't looking at her and she wasn't having any of it and kept getting louder. So I finally just said, "Get over yourself. Why the F would I be staring at you when that's my wife over there on the elliptical?" She looked wounded and I felt bad for it, but she would not stop or leave me alone. She walked away and I thought that was the end of it. As we were leaving, one of the trainers stopped us and said that what I said wasn't necessary and that they would talk to the manager about revoking my membership. Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out for how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? Mom passed away 4 years ago and my sister and I received inheritance. All Mom owned was split between us equally except for her house. In her will, she wrote that the house goes to whoever has kids in the future to help the grandchildren. Then mentioned that if me and my sister have kids, we'll split house value in half. It was obvious my sister and her previously child-free husband wanted to keep the house so bad because within weeks of the funeral, she announced she was pregnant but couldn't keep it since she announced miscarriage days later. She didn't stop till she had a son a year later. She kept getting involved in my marriage, advising me to reconsider because of my husband's condition that had us suffer from infertility. He was also in remission for a mental condition. Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out after how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? My sister kept referring to my mom's house as officially her son's since she has a kid and I don't/won't. Till my husband and I found out we were expecting recently. She invited family over to make the announcement and when she heard, she was shocked. She asked if I was serious, then called me unbelievable to go as far as to lie just so I get to share her kid's house. She said even if I was pregnant, we shouldn't be parents and brought up my husband's BPD. She ignored the fact that he was recovered and brought up his disability. My husband heard but just kept smiling. I said it was none of her business and my husband said that she just didn't want to share the house. It escalated and I told her and her husband to leave. My family wants me to apologize.
Hi, my name is Ava, also known as the Vampire Girl, and it's all because I had the meanest parents. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I was born in a small town in Romania, and growing up, I realized that my parents were weirdos. For starters, they were always talking in whispers to each other, which was so annoying, and they never left the house. They wouldn't go out for work or even groceries. A box of supplies just mysteriously arrived every week. Every day, Dad would spend hours reading the newspaper and circling stuff on it with a red marker. Once when I was 4, I kept asking him to pour me cereal, but he kept ignoring me. So I leapt onto the table and put my foot in his bowl, spilling it all over his newspaper. And Dad went bonkers. Oh my God, do you realize what you've done? You're such a nuisance. Here, take the whole box. Just leave me alone, you idiot. Gosh, I wished I could just leave them forever. They didn't even love me. We never had any visitors, but when I was 5, Grandma came to see us once, and she brought me an adorable cat. I was so happy. But of course, my parents were not. A pet? We already have Ava. It's hard enough to take care of her. No, just take it back, please.
No freaking way!
I ran up to my room with the cat and slammed the door shut. But when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't anywhere in my room. I looked all over the house. Nothing. I just knew my parents had gotten rid of it. I screamed and cried, but they said they didn't know anything. Liars. Before they could stop me, I just ran out the front door. I was never going back. It was a really sunny day, and as I kept running, my skin suddenly started turning really red and itchy. I looked up at the scorching sun, and my whole body began to burn. Ah! I let out one huge scream and fainted. When I woke up, I was in my bed. Mom told me the doctor had been to see me, and he'd said I was perfectly fine.
No, that's not true. I'm not fine. The doctor's dumb. The sun almost killed me.
My parents said I was crazy, but I knew they were evil, and I wasn't gonna let them hurt me. So after that, I refused to let a single ray of sunlight touch my body, not even indoors. I covered myself from tip to toe, socks, Trek pants, hoodie, and a face mask. Only my eyes were visible. My parents almost fainted when they first saw me roaming around the house like a little ninja. The only time I removed my costume was when the sun was gone. I'd never go out during the day. I even insisted on being homeschooled. But by the time I was 13, my parents refused to homeschool me anymore. There's nothing wrong with you. Just go to school. It's been years since you last walked under the sun. It's because I'm allergic to the sun. You just want me to die? If you keep behaving this way, I swear I'll send you to your aunt's place in Norway. There's only... Only sunlight there for 6 months. Gosh, they were unbelievable, and they thought I didn't know about their plan. Fine, but don't think I won't wear this costume to school. I will, and when people say you're weirdos for dressing me up like this, just know that you asked for it. I joined school in the 8th grade, and the minute I entered the classroom, everybody started laughing and whispering things like weirdo and freak. I ignored all of them and sat down quietly on the first empty seat. During lunch break, I stayed back in the classroom while everybody left, except for this one girl, Jessie.
Ava, right?
I'm just curious. why are you dressed like a garbage bag? I'm allergic to the sun. It burns my skin. She started laughing and just left. Soon enough, I discovered she was the meanest girl around, and she'd pick on me every chance she got. Once she put a fart bag on my seat just as I was sitting down, and the farting sound had everyone howling with laughter. Another day, I solved a math problem on the board, and as I was returning to my seat, I slipped on some water and fell on the floor.
That's where your place is anyway, weirdo.
I ignored Jessie's stupid pranks, but one day, she went too far. I was standing under some shade and enjoying a baseball match when suddenly, Jessie came out of nowhere and dragged me into the sun. She started to pull my hoodie off, and I bit her hand really hard and ran away as she screamed.
You crazy freak! Are you a vampire?
And that's how I got my name, Vampire Girl. I could hear people calling me a monster, but I didn't care. At least the bullies were a little scared of me now. A few days later, the teacher introduced a new kid, Nick, to our class. His clothes were old and ragged, and I could see Jessie and her minions already laughing at him. They'd found their new target. I joined him in the cafeteria at lunch that day, and we started talking. I found out that he was the new janitor's son. He was really sweet and never even said I was crazy when I told him about my condition. I was so happy to have made a friend. But one day, as I was walking down the hallway, I found Jessie and her friend surrounding Nick. She spilled juice on the floor and said,
Oops. You can clean this up, Nick. I mean, you'll grow up to be a janitor like your dad, right? Come on, just sit down and wipe it with your butt. Hey, jerk, have you